Hi, good afternoon. It's Bob Webster, Keefe Real Estate in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Well, I hope you and your family are remaining safe and healthy these days in the midst of the COVID-19 situation that we find ourselves in today. Those of us in the real estate business are being asked pretty much on a daily basis how the real estate market is being affected by the whole COVID-19, and you know, the answer, it's a good question, but the answer is kind of hard to give a true indication as to where things are and what's really going on. So one of the ways to try to answer the question, I thought, would be to go back and look at some of the statistics from a year ago. 2019, for the most part, was, by most people's definition, a fairly good year for real estate. And so I've got a few slides here that I wanted to share with you just to kind of give you an indication as to where the market seems to be. So what I've done is taken a look at Walworth County, all property categories. I've lumped everything together in terms of single family, condominium, vacant land, and I've run these numbers as of 2 days ago. So this was this was April 27th. So a year ago, there had been, as far as closings, there had been 498 closings in Walworth County, all property categories, through April 27th. 498 a year ago. This year, that number is 475. So that's a pretty good indication, just down slightly, 5% or so. The average sales price a year ago was just over $267,000. This year, it's up to $295,000, almost $296,000. So in terms of trying to answer the question, having a higher average sales price would seem to indicate that prices are going up. Now, average is a little misleading because high or low numbers, or an abundance of high or low numbers, can kind of throw that average off. But I also ran the median sales price, and a year ago the median was $187,000, and so far this year we're at $232,000. So that is certainly a good sign and an indication of values going up. The next category that I looked at was total dollar closed volume. In other words, this is just adding up the total number of sales closed so far through April 27th. A year ago it was 133 million. That was probably a typical normal year. So far this year, that number is at 140 million. So again, volume is up. The other interesting figure to look at is our multiple listing service at any given time will have a number of accepted offers. So closing is a good number to look at, but the fact that there's probably on average somewhere between 45 and 60 days from the time of acceptance of an offer through closing. When you just look at closings, that's kind of like looking through the rear view mirror, because it's showing you past history and it's not giving you any kind of an indication of the future. Where you can get at least some indication is the number of accepted offers, and right now that number stands at 189. The related category is something our multiple listing service calls pending, and that's a category that the properties go in once the contingencies have been met and you're just waiting to go to closing. And that figure right now was 39. So we're into the 220s, and you know, that's a good indication. That means that there's business properties that have come together, business that's come together over that last 45 to 60 days. And then just a couple of other things that I looked at. If you're a seller or a buyer, one of the questions that is on the mind of both sellers and buyers is the listing inventory, if this is a good time to be putting your property on the market if you're a seller, and if it's a good time to be in the market if you're a buyer. And again, using last year, 2019, as a benchmark, through April 27th, there had been 1,163 new listings come on the market a year ago. So far this year, there's been 927. So that number is down a bit. It's not a significant number. I think it's good news. It's good news if you're a seller, because it's indicating that there hasn't been a glut of new product, rushed to the market, with people panicking, with sellers panicking and saying, I better get my house on the market. And I think it's good news if you're a buyer, because what it says is that there's about normal, or about typical, the amount of inventory out there to be choosing from, as there was a year ago. Now, the reality is our inventory is down, and if you are a buyer in the market, you are finding that there are fewer properties to choose from. But again, bottom line is it's not dramatically different than a year ago. So I hope these numbers are helpful to you. I hope it answers at least the question of where we're at so far this year, and how things have gone almost through the end of April. Time will tell. I don't think anyone's able to really predict accurately where things are going to go from here, but there are certainly these little rays of sunshine coming through the cracks that seem to indicate that where we are here in the Midwest, southeastern Wisconsin, we're considerably better off than a lot of markets, especially a lot of large metropolitan areas, New York, Seattle, some areas that have really been negatively affected. So I try to end these types of conversations with people by saying, this too shall pass. The joke is that it might feel like a kidney stone, but we are going to get through this. No one knows for sure when or how long it's going to take, but truly I believe real estate is going to come out of this just fine. And there's definitely a theory that says that the rubber band is being kind of pulled back slowly here, and once we do get through the COVID-19 situation, that buyers will get into the market in a big way, and that real estate is going to continue to be a sound investment and a good place for people to be making investments for primary homes, certainly investments for second homes, and I believe today's Wednesday. I think we're halfway through the week, and so far we're up. This could be the third week in a row that the stock market has an up, ends on an upscale side. So stock market is slowly coming back. I think I heard today that we're still down 16% maybe since the stock market started to slide. But as it relates to real estate, when the stock market has issues, people begin to say to themselves, where can we put our discretionary dollars in something less risky than the stock market? And certainly you don't want to put it in your mattress. You don't want to put it in a CD in a bank and get some sort of a fractional a number less than 1% as far as an interest rate. So I think real estate will benefit once the stock market continues to come back, and so I think there's definitely signs of and reasons for optimism. So if you have any questions about the real estate market in Lake Geneva in general, or the lakefront market in particular, feel free to give me a call, shoot me an email, or go to my website, lakegenevaproperty.com. It's Bob Webster in Lake Geneva. I hope you make it a great day.